very much. I hope he said good things about me. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, so. But anyway, this is mastering the new YouTube data API, and so I just positioned this headset's kind of weird. So that's me. I don't. Sometimes I look a little bit more like that picture, but not today. Just a little bit about who I am. I used to do a lot of the development as a web developer at YouTube, and I built like the HTML5 player, and I did a lot with our embeds and stuff. And now I have a more developer relations role, which is why I'm here speaking to you guys. So just a little overview of what we're going to do today, what I'm going to talk about. I just wanted to give you an overview of all the different YouTube APIs, you know, what it's all about, what we offer, what you can build, and then we'll dive into a demo and have some samples and look at some code and so forth. So the first thing I want to talk about is YouTube APIs. Now, you know, why would people care about YouTube? Well, mostly it's because it's really big. We have 800 million unique users visit YouTube every month. 4 billion hours watched each month. 25% of views come from mobile devices. You know, and that number specifically, I know, has grown a lot over the past couple of years. I believe last year it was only 10%. The year before that, it was like something like 2. So this is continuing to go on the rise pretty quickly. And of course, people are uploading a lot of videos every minute, 72 hours. So this is all very good, very impressive. So what do we got? How do you get access to all this great power that's behind YouTube? Well, we've got kind of 4 main APIs that we look at. The first one is the YouTube upload widget. This is a thing that you can embed on your site that can allow users to upload their own videos, record their own videos on it with their webcam. We have the data API. This is how you get access to all the different data that YouTube has. Data about a video, doing searches, playlists, creation, and things like that. Then there's the player API, and this is my favorite because I worked on this one. And once you embed a YouTube video on your site, you often want to interact with it. Maybe you're just doing something like you want to play the video and stop it at a certain time, or you want to record different states or whatever. There's a lot of different things you can do to interact with the video while it's playing. And the last one, and this one's very new, is our analytics API. And this is so that you can get information about how well your video is doing. You want to chart how many views it's gotten, how many likes, how people have been interacting with it. That's the API for that. So what can you do with these APIs? So I just gave you a little bit of information about what data you can get. So these are sort of the 4 categories that we like to put things in. Create, curate, consume, and analyze. So the first one's create. So, you know, using our APIs to create content, to create new videos. And so one example of this I really like is the Talking Tomcat application. And this is a mobile phone application. It's kind of cute. You basically interact with this cat on your device, and then you can make videos with it, and those videos can be uploaded to YouTube. That helps you share the different videos, and it's really cute and great for little kids. And this is all done with the YouTube API. So here's a little sample video for you guys. So, you know, quite simple. He's just kind of scratching along, but very simple. And these are things that you could do. Other great examples that I see with creating video content are from a lot of the video game industry. People upload videos of their gameplay that people watch, and this is pretty exciting. This is pretty cool. You know, there's a lot of community around some of these games, and so it adds a lot being able to share, like, you know, those awesome kills that you have, or whatever the video might be of. So the next thing that we sort of categorize things into is curate, and this is sort of like putting a bunch of pieces together to make interesting playlists or just make sort of interesting content. So one of the example I have for this is called YouTube Direct Lite. And this is an open source JavaScript platform, and it basically you're able to curate submissions to a playlist, and then people can see it on their website. So let me just really show you the demo. So we have a simple thing here. You see this YouTube embed of a playlist that you can get at the bottom here. You can see that it's a playlist. And this is all created by people coming to this site and coming here down here at the bottom. And they can record from a webcam. They can grab YouTube videos, and they can upload to add another submission to this playlist. And so this is like another way that people can interact by curating content to make things that are a little bit more interesting. And so, you know, good examples, if you wanted to have do a bunch of like reactions to some event that happened, you could have a site and people could share their reaction to whatever event is going on, and you can have a list of all these things. The next thing is consume. And so the example I have for this is Flipboard. And now Flipboard, they do like news articles and stuff. And so this is a really great application on mobile devices, where basically you look for topics that are interesting to you, and then you can see the YouTube videos that are associated with it. And so basically these YouTube videos enhance these applications, and so they consume our content and give it to the user so that they can watch and interact with these videos. And the last thing is analyze. And like I said, this one's real, one of the newer ones. And so with the analytics API, you can get all these video statistics and see sort of the popularity of your video and where people are watching it from and stuff. And this will allow you to build like dashboards, and you can do reporting with it. And basically, you can really use it to automate some of these complex reporting tasks that people would have to scrape our site for in the past. So one example I have here is something called Next Big Sounds, and I hope that the audio is working for this video, because it's a pretty neat little thing. Let's see.
Next Big Sound presents
do we have audio?
For most of recorded music history, radio spins and record sales were the only numbers that mattered for measuring success and popularity. The way artists were discovered and marketed was relatively well understood. For decades, things were peachy keen. Some call them the glory days. But something happened. In the past 5 to 10 years, people found new ways to listen, purchase, and interact with music. And everything changed. The amount of activity online is staggering. There are now hundreds of sources to help fans discover new music. Top artists now see millions of plays and fan interactions every single day. For artists and music professionals, the need for tying together all this data is more important than ever. Next Big Sound connects artists and the industry to the information they need to drive their business and chart a path towards success. Next Big Sound, knowledge to navigate the modern music industry.
So this company is pretty cool because basically they use our analytics APIs to track how well these different music groups are doing, and they can see, which if an interaction increases views for a certain video, like maybe they tweet it somewhere, maybe they share it on Facebook, maybe on Google+, whatever the case may be, and they can help track sort of the impact that it has on how much people are watching and interacting with your videos. So that's a really cool example for analyzing. Now I kind of want to go into building something and looking at code for our new data API, because this we just came out with the new version. So just to, some things that I might not dive into, I'm going to assume that you guys already know JavaScript. I'm going to have some jQuery references. And when you want to start building stuff, you need to have a Google and a YouTube account. So let's look at a quick example. So I actually have this open on a different page because it's better. So it looks like nothing really yet. So what I have to do is I have to authorize. And this is using a... is it working? Let's refresh that. Okay, let's... I always get confused because I sign in with multiple accounts and I'm never sure which one it's using. All right, so I want to authorize my account. I sign in with my personal username, and it should pull in all this data. Is it going? Don't you love live demos? All right, well, that's not working today. All right, well, that kind of sucks. So I'm gonna just gonna assume that it worked. What it was supposed to happen was it was supposed to grab a list of all my videos and then use the analytics API to actually build this interactive graph of how all my videos were interacting. And show that like where the demographics of people were coming from to view my videos, if they were coming from the U.S., if they were coming from Canada, from Mexico, and who was liking them and who was and sharing them and stuff. But because this API just recently launched, it looks like they might have changed something, which caused it to break on me, which is actually very upsetting. Anyway. We'll just move on then. So the first thing you need to get started is doing OAuth. And so that part worked. You saw I was able to log in with my account, and it went on to the pop-up came up, and it was supposed to grab data after that. So what does OAuth 2 give you? So this is our new authorization protocol that you have to use with the new GData APIs, and basically. It's going to happen through a web page that's hosted via HTTPS on google.com. And so this way it ensures that your credentials aren't shared with any third parties. And so you have a link, it opens up a new page, and then it'll call a callback, which will basically create these tokens for you that you can use to get access to their data. And now sometimes keeping track of tokens can be very difficult, but luckily we have Google libraries, Google API client libraries, to handle this bookkeeping for you when they expire, when you know you have to grab them again. So use those APIs so that you don't have to do the work. And we also have different ways of doing the OAuth. If you're doing a JavaScript application, maybe you need to do it on the server side. There's all these different things for you. So the first thing that you would need to do is get a developer key. And to do that, you can go to code.google.com/API/console. The other way that I always get there is I just type developers.google.com/console as well. And so I got this little API demo for my keys, and we can see here in the services is the important part. So Google offers a lot of different services, but most of these I'm not going to use in my application. I don't need. So the only ones that I turned on are the YouTube ones, the Analytic API and the Data API. And after that, I can look at, need to reload. I can look at the API access, and here it lists all the information that I need to build an application. And this section right in the middle here is the important part. It has my client ID, which is like the token that says who I am, and then I just have a couple redirect URLs and JavaScript origins so that it knows when it sees a request with my client ID from one of these URLs that it can authorize access to it, and will allow that user to authenticate to my site and return data to me. So once you've understand kind of what OAuth is and how it works, your code would look pretty simple like this. You include the script tag at the top, and this is going to load in this authentication API. And the important thing is the very last part there. It's the onload equals, and you put in whatever you want, and that's the function it'll call when it returns. And then in my code here, you can see I have my OAuth 2 client ID there. And that's the part that I pointed out before. And I have these two scopes, and this says that the APIs that I want to have access to, YouTube and the YouTube Analytics API. And then after that, it's pretty simple. I can just, once the client is ready here, I can basically check if I'm authorized, and if not, I can do a link and put up that pop-up to have my user authorize. So next, the data API. This is more the interesting part, to get access to all this YouTube data. So like I said, it's brand new. The old version, we still have the old version, still got a lot of great stuff in it, but this new one's a lot better. And so what did we do to improve it? Well, we tried to make, we wanted to make sure that it was RESTful, and we wanted to make sure that it had, that it returned JSON. Before we were tuning Atom and XML, but JSON's a lot easier to work with, especially in a JavaScript world. And so we wanted to make sure that things were very simple and concise. So now, when you request data, you actually only specify which parts you want to return, as opposed to getting this big chunk of data. You only get the things that you ask. And so this will basically allow us to give you, to return results to you faster, for those results to be passed along the wire even faster as well. And then you won't have to sift through as many data to get the things that you want. And we tried to make the URL schemas very simple so that it's easy to figure out how to do it for all these different pieces of data that you can get access to. So I want to just show you where you can find this information. So if you go to developers.google.com/YouTube, you can find information about all of our data APIs. And right here, the YouTube Data API documentation, version 3, is where we got all the good stuff for our YouTube v3 APIs. So I'll show you a little example of what maybe the search one would look like. And we can see here, when we do a search for something, this would be what would be returned. We can get basically information about what type of result it is. So now, instead of just getting videos back, we can get channels and playlists as well. And so we'll have an ID for it, which will tell you the kind of the kind of asset that it is, and the different IDs that are associated with it. You also get something called a snippet, and a snippet is basically a piece of data that describes it. So for this case, we know when it's published, what channel it's associated with it, the title, the description, and thumbnails, and so on. And so it's pretty simple. Now, if we want to do a list, we want to actually retrieve things with the result, we can look here, and we see a very simple URL to request. The parts are basically the things that you want to have access to, and we can add a query to what we want to look for. So we have a little sample down at the bottom. So for parts, let's say we want the snippet, and query. My favorite search is always for cats. And if we execute this, we can see what the URL looks like. It's right here. It's very simple. You can see we have the base URL that has search in it, and we're just looking for the snippets for the query for cats with our API key. And just a very simple result we see here. Right here, we have our first snippet. It shows you funny cats in water, epic, and it goes into more detail and so on. So now, once we've, back to sort of how the code would flow, we do our OAuth, and then we want to load these APIs, these client APIs, to interact with it. So I have a little snippet of code that'll load the YouTube and the YouTube Analytics API with our client loader. And then once these are loaded, we know that they're loaded, and we can move on and build stuff. So the first thing that you wanted to do for the example that I had that, of course, didn't work, is just get the list of uploaded videos. So a simple request like this, we want to grab the content details, and we want to grab the ID of our channel, and the content deals will have like the playlist in it. And then we do simple execute, and the response is very simple. We just grab the playlist ID and the channel ID. And so that request would look like this in the code. So now I wanted to get the information about the playlist, each video. And really, there was a lot of code here, but really the top part's the only part that's important. I passed in the playlist ID that I had before. I want to get the snippet and the ID, the snippet for all the information about what the video is, and the ID that's associated with it. And I only want to get 10 results at a time, and I can do pagination with it as well, so I'm going to save this token that I might use, I might not if it's the beginning. And then once again, a simple execution of the query. So now once we get that, we get all this, we have basically the IDs of all these videos, we use the analytics API, and this is basically the same sort of stuff. It looks very similar. And the cool part, though, is actually how we sort of categorize data. And everything looks like a cube. We have dimensions and metrics. And so when you request data from it, you have to say, you can say like the dimension and the metrics that you want. So for this case, like the dimensions would be for each video over time. And then we can apply filters, and one of these filters might be for a country, or maybe we want to gather the number of views for a specific video, so we can filter it by video and have the dimension be time and the filter be and the dimension be by country. So the code to do that looks kind of like this. The very top part is just picking a date. I just said I want to get the last year worth of data and have it in year, then month, then date sort of format. And after that, it's pretty simple. I can say request option. Basically, I can put in the channel that I want that's associated with myself. The metrics up here, there's a drop down. In this case, I want to have everything. Or maybe I wanted to do just the views, just the favorites, whatever that may be. Dimension is country in this to sort of divide over which countries are interacting with my video. And then the start and the end date, like I said, I create at the top. And then I can filter. If I want to filter for a specific video, I can do that very simply as well. And then it executes, and once again, I can use my data very simply. So if you want to know more about how to use these APIs and stuff, the easiest thing to do is to search for YouTube API and to go to the documentation, like I pointed out, at developers.google.com/YouTube. And what's also very awesome is we have a weekly live show where we talk about these APIs. We talk about different people who are using them, different companies from around the industry, and sometimes we'll talk to some of the developers inside the company who can tell you about the APIs, how they were built, where they're going. And so that's a weekly live show every Wednesday. And it's developers.google.com/live/YouTube. And if you want to pay attention on Google Plus or a blog, you can also look at those things as well. So that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully I won't keep you late for lunch, because I know that starts pretty soon. Do you guys have questions for me? Yes. You wanna? Is there a microphone to pass him, or I guess you can shout really loud?
Te pido un favor, ¿lo puedes pasar? Hi. I have many clients with some needs. They need one account, many channels, or one channel, many accounts, and all using the API to take the channels in their own sites.
I didn't quite catch the question.
O sea, que tengo varios clientes que necesitan tener sus videos, tener un solo canal y tener a los empleados subiendo los videos y todo eso mostrarlo dentro de sus sitios con la misma API.
Okay, let me see if I understood. He said that he have a lot of clients, but he wants to know if the clients can have their own videos, and then y luego que los suban, ¿o qué?
Yeah.
Sí. Que una empresa suba los canales
Sure.
a los clientes.
So if you speak into the microphone, they'll translate it for me over this thing.
Ok. Bueno, la pregunta es, un cliente desea que sus empleados suban videos al canal de la empresa, siendo identificados como de la empresa, no usando sus propias cuentas, y ese mismo canal, el canal de la empresa, ser utilizado por medio de la API en el propio site de la empresa. Hay maneras por medio de la API para poder realizar todos estos procesos.
So yes. You can basically save the credentials for a specific user. So what you could do is you could have one person come in, authorize the channel that you want things to be uploaded to, save those credentials, and then when other people come to the site, they come in, you have to do your own authentication for them, and then you can say, all right, you know, I want to, this other user is going to give me a video, and I'm going to take that video and I'm going to pretend to upload it with that first set of credentials that I had originally that you that are associated with the channel ID. And there are examples I think on the blog and on the developer site that show you how to save a user's credentials. Because it's as simple as just making sure that for any authenticated user, you can interact with the data even when they're not there. So you can have other people come to the site and also and interact with that data that you grabbed at another time or to upload. So I hope that makes sense.
Hello. The old ways to access for upload and view videos like JSON data still working, or we have to make new APIs with how-to and version 3 of YouTube API?
So the version 2 APIs still exist. They'll still be around for a long time. Version 3 is better in a lot of ways, but it's still missing some things. So we'll definitely have a long period that we're transitioning in between the two, and version 2 won't go away anytime soon. So you kind of, for now, if you have complicated applications, you might choose to use version 2. You might choose to use a mix of the two APIs. I personally think that the version 3 API is just written in a much easier way to manage and develop for. So I definitely recommend that you kind of stick with that. But if you're building an application that requires features of version 2, you'll want to, of course, continue to use version 2, and that won't go away anytime soon. So.
Do you have a limit of videos that you can upload or that you can request from the API?
Sorry, I didn't.
Do you have a limit?
Is there a limit?
Videos?
Yes, there are limits to all of our APIs. Let me see if I can pull up. So in the API console, if you go to services and I go down to active, you can see that there's in the notes section on the side there that there's a limit, and I don't remember what the default limit rates are. But they're in our documentation, so you'll know how many requests you can make for each of these APIs. Anything else? All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, you're welcome to find me today or tomorrow, whatever. And thank you all for coming.
Gracias.